Datto, don't hold out on me, man. What kind of weapon rolls are we looking at for these new guns? Come on, man. Give me the goods. Today, we're going to break down some perk rolls on all of the new Yep. There's how many? Today, we're going to break down the seasonal weapons and Nightfall weapons to figure out what some top perk rolls look like. Spoilers, not much has really changed in terms of what perks to look for compared to last season, but, you know. Extraordinary Rendition, the SMG. We have so many good options here that I think it would be better to say what to avoid as opposed to what to get. Firmly Planted is definitely a no from me with Surplus, Zen Moment, Outlaw, and Overflow on this thing. Subsistence 2, if you really want to go that route, not the best option. The easiest perk roll would be something like Overflow or Outlaw, and Rampage or Frenzy. Multi-kill clip, I would only pair with Outlaw. One for All is pretty under the radar, and with the amount of enemies to kill in Battlegrounds, I don't think you're going to have much trouble making this perk happen. It is definitely more work, though, than Rampage, and Rampage's effect happens on kill. It's not very hard to kill with this gun, especially in Battlegrounds.
Barrels and magazines, I think, can be tailored to your liking. I like magazine perks that give you more bullets in the mag, but when this thing has 28 bullets and the most you can get is 31 with extended mag, I'm not in a hurry for that. So maybe some range instead, or alloy mag. Alloy.
We just went over it.
So maybe some range instead, or alloy mag.
Barrel-wise, I like range. I do want to see if going for stability is going to do a whole lot on PC with those changes, so small bore would be a good pick there if I wanted both range and stability. In terms of masterwork, and this kind of applies to all the guns we're going to be talking about, that's sort of the same deal as barrels and magazines. Personal preference. I personally like range masterworks on a good amount of stuff, but it's completely up to you. Brass Attacks is the sidearm, and in my opinion, you probably want to spec your sidearm in a very similar way to an SMG given their playstyles. Feeding Frenzy or Rapid Hit is great here, although I sometimes struggle with consistent headshots with sidearms for some reason, I don't know. Frenzy, One for All, Rampage, all great perks here too. I would probably opt for more range than stability on a sidearm as far as the barrel and magazine perks go. Imperial Needle, the bow. I don't think much has really changed here in terms of bow-related perks. Archer's Tempo for PvE is pretty much the way to go, although Hipfire Grip, it's not the worst choice if you're more of a hipfire bow shooter, I guess. Swashbuckler and Frenzy are definitely going to be the PvE options. You're going to want to treat this as a workhorse weapon with those perks, going for those one-shot headshots. Far Future, the sniper. Not much of a PvE sniper, in my opinion. I suppose you can get some value out of Frenzy if you did want to use it as a boss damage weapon, but there are other snipers out there that I would recommend more for PvE. If I was going to go for a PvE role, I would do auto-loading or maybe Surplus. Lead from Gold was great last season, but that's because we had mods that fed us heavy ammo like crazy. In terms of PvP, I love Snapshot on a sniper, and this doesn't have it, so personally, I'm out. But I know some people are hyped on this for PvP. Moving Target is a community favorite. I would grab Opening Shot as well in that case. Code Duello, the rocket launcher. Rockets are finally back in the mix this season, so what do we have here? Well, no Clown Cartridge or Ambitious Assassin in the first major perk column means I'm going with Autoloading Holster or the new perk Impulse Amplifier for that increased velocity. I'm not sure I go with Ambitious Assassin in the second column, although it is a pretty reliable second rocket in the magazine after you reload. I just don't know how I feel about a rocket that is only based on reload type perks. Chain Reaction is a good choice, although I feel like if you're firing this at a group of enemies, they're just going to die to the rocket unless there are a ton of enemies to get that extra explosion effect. Lasting Impression. I've done some research, but I don't have much personal experience with the perk just yet. But it does say increased damage and blast radius after the explosion on a direct hit when it triggers, so I am interested. The risk here is just whiffing a rocket completely going for that direct hit. Of course, Frenzy is viable too. Otherwise, we're going Velocity in the other slots, Hard Launch, Quick Launch, everything else not too great. Impact Casing if you want to keep chasing those direct hits, although I'm not sure of the synergy of impact casing with lasting impression just yet. Threaded Needle, linear fusion rifle. We need a replacement for line in the sand, now don't we? Well, this thing doesn't have firing line, but it does have Vorpal weapon, so we're not going to be able to replicate it exactly, but it's very, very close. As a result, I'm going Rapid Hit and Vorpal specifically for boss damage, although Clown Cartridge is potentially an option, but if I'm being real with you, Clown Cartridge is not something I'm really looking forward to testing out. We learned with last year's video on Line in the Sand that it more or less doesn't really matter what your charge speed is over a long period of shooting. That's 2 or more magazines. Faster speeds get you higher DPS, slower speeds higher total damage, but the amount is not that extreme. Rapid Hit also beat out autoloading during sustained damage. If you're not going for boss damage, then your options are a bit wider. Frenzy, Dragonfly maybe, you could grab autoloading or Clown Cartridge here as well. Okay, how about these Nightfall weapons? People want to grind them Nightfalls. How about these? Shadow Price is now an arc auto rifle as opposed to kinetic like it was in D1. We have a new perk here named Bottomless Grief, where if you're the last person alive in your fire team, every kill refills your magazine, which is pretty good. However, I'm not a huge fan of perks that only work when your teammates are dead, but this is a very strong effect for that situation, especially when combined with Swashbuckler as a last resort. I don't know if I'm taking it though. Instead, I'm looking at Overflow or Feeding Frenzy. 4th time's the charm works too, since this is a slower firing auto rifle. It's a little more manageable to hit those crits. Second perk, Disruption Break, is great for group content, especially more difficult stuff where there are a ton of shields. Swashbuckler is good for a workhorse weapon. Dragonfly's okay. One for All is fine. Barrel perks, take your personal preference. I don't mind some more consistent recoil, so Arrowhead is good. I would also take Small Bore or Corkscrew for those smaller stat increases. Palindrome, Void Hand Cannon, also has Bottomless Grief. Still probably not taking it. Outlaw Rampage, classic combo. It's still really good. You could grab Overflow instead if you wanted to. Subsistence is in 3rd place. Just make sure you can keep that ammo rolling and be sure to pair it with Rampage. Rampage is easily the best perk in the 2nd column of major perks. I would put One for All in 2nd place, but I don't see a reason to not take Rampage if you get the opportunity. I would personally be going for some range here. Hammerforge, Corkscrew, Small Bore, and the magazine perk, I'm taking high caliber rounds for that stagger effect, or some more bullets. Appended mag works too if you don't have a reload bonus and you're not a chronic reloader like I am. Finally, we have the Swarm, Arc Machine Gun. Machine guns are currently not good for sustained damage. They are definitely much more about ad clear, so I'm going to be focusing on that. And yeesh. I think Outlaw All for One is your best bet here. Maybe Dragonfly works too, but I'm not getting slideways or tap the trigger on this thing or anything like that. Vorpal is an option if you wanted to have this be somewhat viable for boss damage, but otherwise, this thing is a little lacking in the perk department compared to something like 7th Seraph. I feel like I get constant god rolls of 7th Seraph, and it works with Warmind cells, which are insanely good. Prioritize 7th Seraph for now. That's what I got for you guys on the seasonal weapons and the Nightfall weapons. If you want me to cover more of them, just let me know. I imagine PvP bros are going to have some advice on the Trials weapons, although I'm sure I can give it a quick breakdown. Perks aren't that complex. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.